Hi everyone, welcome to Gravitas AI panel discussion on transforming student engagement in schools with AI. In today's rapidly evolving education landscape, artificial intelligence is emerging as a powerful tool to transform the way students engage with learning. By leveraging AI powered technologies, schools can create personalized, interactive, and very engaging learning experience for the students. To deep dive into the discussion, we have our esteemed guest here, Mr. Anshul Pathania, Managing Director of Pathania Public School, Rohtak, Haryana, and Mr. Aarsh Srivastava, co-founder of Gravitas AI. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you, Akshita.
Yeah. So we'll begin with our question. First question: what does the student engagement mean in the context of modern education, and how do you see AI playing a role in redefining it?
Well, Akshita, student engagement is a very encouraging term, I must say, in today's scenario when the overall attention spans have been reducing over a period of time for all of us, not only for students but for all of us as a generation, I would say. Of course, the student engagement very implicitly would mean to generate certain curiosity or the interest amongst the children, or motivating them, or motivating them, or to have them committed towards learning as such. And what all things or the efforts a teacher would make in a classroom to engage into all these activities would eventually define what a student engagement would be. So it could be, of course, it is related to the cognitive aspect where the learning is happening in terms of intellect. But apart from the learning which is happening in brain, of course, there's a emotional engagement also, which is very important and pivotal. And at the same time, the behavioral pattern also. So all these kind of engagements would ideally define a student engagement in a classroom.
Yep, quite true. And Anshul has covered both aspects in the operations, like what happens in the internal operations and also in the external engagements. So that's quite important to understand, in my understanding as well, that, okay, it's a holistic term. It's not just about some conversations, but also understanding very meaningfully and like very impactfully and with a lot of empathy as well in terms of how we can interact with the students, because these are people who are getting the learning, trying to imbibe new things and trying to understand more things about how they should be progressing forward. And there's a lot of future ahead, so we need to be very careful with the engagements. So there are different types of engagements and different type of use cases where the student engagement can come into the context of modern education. And whether it's about classroom training, and whether it's about like just interactions between for the homeworks or assignments or some assistance using the modern era technology tools like LLM models, chat gpt, etc., for getting some assistance in getting a lot of knowledge from them, to understand more about it and then try to like reflect back on it. So there's a lot which can be done. Also, in terms of like from a college perspective or a school perspective, there are a lot of engagements with schools have with the parents and the students. Those are conversations can be automated as well with the different type of tools. Typically, people get a lot of like face-to-face visits, the telephone calls, emails coming up, and now like some schools have opened up different WhatsApp business channels to introduce like have some interaction with the patient with the parents. So those all can also be automated. Even like there are like WhatsApp groups through which a lot of things have happened in the COVID era. So there's a lot of opportunity to tap into these different types of platforms and try to automate the conversations, engage the students and parents in a much nicer way. At the same time, we have to be very responsible, because this is a sector which has got a lot of impact, not only for now but for the students in the future as well.
Of course. So rightly mentioned by both of you, like we know that this AI is providing a tailored kind of personalized learning experience to nowadays students, giving them an adaptive assessment and interactive content, which encourages their learning experience more and more. Moving ahead, what are some of the biggest opportunities AI represents for enhancing student engagement that we might have not seen in the traditional methods?
I'm sure that, sorry.
Yeah.
as the technology has grown and has been a integral part now for our lives in our lives. So it's of course AI has made a very big impact on the way children are learning now. In fact, most of the things which are very unreal for a human being to do is what is majorly expected out sorry, out of a machine. Of course, so you would see that a lot of stress on personalized learning has been laid nowadays, where each identification of each child's requirements and the way he is supposed to learn, and that on a personalized way is done. Then, of course, not only the learning part, but also the middle part of it. Of course, that is also tuned to his personalized experience. And not only that, most of the times to make the content more interesting for a human being, it's very difficult to engage in all. Suppose there are around 25 students in a classroom, so you cannot teach in 25 different ways at the same time, and it's practically impossible. But if you have a wonderful tool from any of the artificial intelligence tools which are going to help you in this, will be a very big benefit for the teacher. So you can have different kind of teaching methodologies at the same time during the same lecture itself for all the different students, which will cater to their individual needs. And of course, tools like where you would get you can get an assessment done or a feedback done instantly, and for a teacher to check and or to verify all the answers being given by a student will be very difficult practically, but the machine will help us do all this. And creating a lot of content, because AI is adaptive, it's learning from itself. So creating content as per the need and increasing the impact of the content. So there's so much of it. Of course, the difference between a human and a machine would always stay there. It's just that the humans are behind the machine, and undoubtedly, the human brain is much more creative and has a lot of empathy, which the machines would miss out on. But apart from that, you cannot match the competency of a machine for sure. So that
Yeah.
it was a major impact.
Definitely, I'll take a line from Mr. Anshul's statements that okay, humans have like machines have to be like behind, and humans have to drive it. And it's very important to have that sort of mindset as well, because ultimately, as we start growing up with the technology and you start using more artificial intelligence, we have to understand that it's artificial. It ultimately made by humans and for humans, and for the benefit of humans. So we have to draw a line where we want to go actually, and we have to regulate it. That's very important. So that's my 2 cents on like how to safeguard it. That is also an opportunity to control, to operate the machines in a controlled environment and see what sort of benefit we reap out of it rather than getting controlled by machines. So these are two important things which are required while implementing AI solutions. Having said that, there are a lot of opportunities, as Mr. Anshul also mentioned, about training softwares and like a lot of assistance about personalization. Personalization is something which definitely in a few years time will definitely reach to that level, wherein like with these LLM models which we're using right now, for providing the generic content, providing assistance in terms of training, in terms of like providing content and information to students, they can be level of personalization achieved. There's also another aspect which is pretty like interesting, and I'm very much fascinated by that. That the type of delivery, the mode of delivery, because there's a person who's delivering, and the people who are trying to absorb it, and every other human absorbs it very different way. Some people absorb it well if it's a video format. Some people like it in text format. Some people like to take notes. So that level of personalization we are able to achieve through AI in the education sector, that will be phenomenal, because then we are able to deliver the required content in the format as the people want to learn, uh, uh, the type of format they want to learn in. So that will be another level. Definitely, we are pretty far away from that. But at this point of time, I think there's a lot of improvements which have been made, and a lot of use cases can be carved out for different departments, including the academics, including the operations departments, including libraries, admissions. So a lot of automation can be done, and these can be connected together. So slowly, as we start connecting together, so AI is something which has to be done in piecemeals. We can't do one stop solution at one time and get it sorted, because ultimately we're trying to mimic the human intelligence in different areas, and different departments have to come together. So for bringing them together, we start operating in different silos. For example, if we start operating something in the admissions department, and do something in the academics department. At a later point of time, we need to connect them together. So you have to strategize well, develop roadmaps, and then start delivering.
All right. So yes, like as both of you rightly quoted this, that it's not possible to curate. Like if 25 students are there in a class, so teacher can like teach in different 25 languages or in all these methods. So of course, giving this opportunity of AI helps students to learn in their own way. Plus, teachers have also get benefited that they get very easily all the analysis done and the feedbacks are also very easily provided. Moving ahead, can you shed light on the misconception that AI is only for tech savvy schools and too difficult to implant in the average classrooms?
Yes, it is indeed a major misconception. We are talking a lot about AI recently. In last maybe 5 7 years, it has been a talk of the place throughout everywhere. But somehow it has been a part of our lives long ages long. It's just that the adaptive part has increased a lot recently, but AI in a very subtle way. I would not say AI, but the machine part has been included in the learning for the children for a very long time, and in a very unknowing way, an unknown manner. A lot of schools, irrespective of the budget schools or the premium schools, we all have been using the technology in one or the other way. And the technology which we are talking about is eventually were the baby steps of AI. Artificial intelligence, the term itself was coined in 1958, so it's that old. It's just that recently, because the data has grown so much, and we have been trying to assimilate a lot of stuff out of the data and data crunching. So now we are able to evolve faster and better, and because we have tools which are working very fast on this technology, so you can see the advancements happening faster. Otherwise, if you ask me, um, basic tools like Zoom or Google Meet or Teams, Microsoft Teams, and even Google Forms for that matter. Maybe Facebook, WhatsApp, all these apps have some or the other way been using artificial intelligence in some maybe a lesser way, and now very prominently, which we see nowadays. Even the usage of smartphones or the smart classes included in the classrooms. So the day you were wired with internet, it was working, and artificial intelligence was a part of the teaching. Now it is wireless also, so it's very convenient, and we are using it exhaustively. So it's not about the budget school or maybe how difficult it is for a non-tech savvy school to implement these things. Rather, with time, it has become more affordable, and you would see it has become more scalable. Especially, it was a you know blessing in a disguise when Corona came, and all of a sudden the government schools and everybody was pushed to adopt to technology. So you would see that that sea change which came in at that time has not only impacted the school but society as such. So
Hmm.
the parent who always used to come with to us saying that, look, my child is able to use the cell phone, now tells us, "Ki, sir, I am also learnt a lot through this process." Just because it was a blessing in disguise, or maybe it was a the mother is in need of invention. So it's just like that. Parents also adapted to the technology. Teachers also quickly learned. So it's no more a very big financial investment. In fact, a lot of cost saving apps are available where it's majorly the communication which has to happen,
Yeah.
and that's how I think post 2020 or post 2021, I would say it has become much more affordable, and rather much more we have become much more conversant with the technology. So
I
it's
totally
it's
agree.
now more affordable and mobile friendly rather.
Yeah, I totally agree with him, and it's a complete myth. So, and if even if you consider channels, so the channels like WhatsApp, etc., is being used by everyone. Everyone is aware of WhatsApps. So, if you are developing WhatsApp assistants and communicating with the parents through that, automating your stuff through that, it can be done. And it's not very costly. So I don't think like it's just for the tech savvy schools or like schools which have got loads of money, but it can be implemented anywhere and everywhere. And the classic implementation of this is in the form of chat GPTs. Even like at home, people use Alexa or the Google Home. That's all AI, and we are trying to get a lot of information out of these set of tools. So it's widespread, it's available. Technology can be implemented. Schools can definitely implement at the cost which they want to, and there can be different type of use cases. So technology has like it has got no limitations. You can implement like you have a very big elephant out built by the technology, or you can have simple use cases which can complement provide the needs, basic needs, fulfill the basic needs which you have. So it's totally available. There are a lot of SaaS-based tools available which can be utilized to create solutions.
Yes, so nowadays I believe that AI tools are designed in a much more user friendly way and easily accessible. And even with the minimal technical expertise, even the students as well as the teachers are easily able to handle it. Moving ahead, there's a myth that AI can't truly engage students as effectively as human teacher can. How would you respond to this?
That's a very tricky question. If you ask a teacher himself to match himself with the machine, there's no doubt that comparing these two will be very immature because of the fact that both are actually complementing to each other. It's like as a teacher, we cannot replicate what a machine can do, and certainly what a machine can do is what is defined by human beings. So, uh, irrespective of the fact that a machine could do a lot of multitasking, a lot of skill set which we cannot even imagine in our heads immediately. Definitely, there are certain virtues which artificial intelligence is lacking as of now, and is learning, I must say, rather. And aspects like empathy or emotions which are involved as a teacher is very difficult for AI to replicate. And things like, the ability to inspire children, to motivate them, or you would see the creativity levels is somewhere where, as of now, the artificial intelligence is lacking a lot. And that personal touch which a teacher could give is very difficult, although we can do a personalized learning. But the kind of in-depth touch which a teacher or will have an emotional connection with a child is very difficult. You would see that of course, AI cannot behave 100% like human beings, but even teachers, for that matter, cannot behave 100% like an artificial intelligence can do. So you would see that the benefits which we draw from the technology, like, a teacher cannot be available 24 by 7, but the moment you click on a button, the AI would respond to you. So maybe, creating wonderful interesting games or engaging content or personalization at a mass scale level. So these are certain aspects where the teachers would would be at a back seat and the technology is preferred. So it all goes hand in hand. And of course, the technology or the machines would always remain a help or an assistance to the teacher to make a bigger impact for like teaching. That's how I sum up that.
To keep the long story short, I will like to see as Mr. Anshul, the implementation of AI as Mr. Anshul has explained. So these two are like entities, humans and the machine itself, are complementary, and they should be complementing each other to fulfill the gaps which they should be doing. So I'm totally in agreement with what he's where he sees AI working alongside the teachers, and that is how it should be. And even if the government agencies and the education bodies are looking at these kind of technologies, regulations should be framed alongside that to ensure that the implementation is in line with this kind of vision, because ultimately we have to use machines. We can't be used by machines. The day we start getting used by machines, it will be a very different story. So we have to be very careful about it, and we have to use machines for our benefit, and at the same time also get a lot of understanding, because machines can compute at a very high power. Human brain can also compute at very high power, but the kind of access the machine has in terms of knowledge base, that's immense. So you have to leverage that power, use it to our benefits, develop the right kind of use cases, and get it sorted.
All
And
right.
also, let me add a little to it. Just a small thing, which when I'm sure this will stay with you. It's just like the machines have microprocessors and chips, but humans have hearts. So it's very difficult for machines to replicate. And vice versa. Rather, we must look at it like this: that the AI is not to displace humans.
Hmm.
Rather, it is more about humanizing the digital efforts or the digital world. So
I think
basically, it's not digitalizing human world; it's rather humanizing the digital world.
yes. I'll take this phrase out of this life
Yes,
cycle.
yes, this
Yeah,
yes. It just struck me. I thought I must share it right away.
that's really great.
Nicely quoted, Mr. Anshul. So, can you please share a story of innovation where AI brought about a positive change in the learning environment?
Yes, you know, there are a lot of stories where you would find that the AI has made made an impact in the teaching scenario as such. But I just think, more importantly, I'll just share a small. It's a real story I would share with you, which will help us realize that how rapidly the technology has changed and it has impacted us. Long back when this game of basketball was invented in the 1800s, for the first 18 years, for the first 18 years, basketball was played like this. There was a basket which was put up, and people used to put the ball in that. And then there were a team of three people who used to, climb up the ladder and take out the ball of the basket, and then the game would continue. So it kept happening for 18 long years until this idea and a concept came to trick somebody, and they told, why don't we put a small hole in the basket so that the ball could, once it is put in the basket, automatically fall down. So the pace of the game will increase. It will become more fast and it will become more interesting. We don't need to wait. So, with a small brink of idea and the change which was required, everybody was excited and everybody was happy with the small change. And they thought, why didn't we think about it along? But, when everybody was so happy around, there were still few people who were nugging and they were not very happy about it. And those were those people who were holding the ladder because their jobs went. So it's just that with changing technology and with changing times, if we are adapting to it, technology, as I told, has been a part for a very long time for teaching. It's just that it is very rapidly changed recently, but previously also it has been a part of the teaching systems. So if we are able to adapt to that, so we stay relevant to the times. And that's what I would share, that, making an impact, making a sea change in the current scenario where we are talking about examination systems going digital. We are seeing the benefits of the online examination system very recently, where the children can either the IIT exams or the JEE exams, which happen and now are happening on the centers where the systems are available rather than in a pen and paper test. So it's a very classic example how things have rapidly changed. And because it has become a part of the a child's life, of course, as teachers, as adults, as grown-ups, we must very quickly adapt and get the best of for the children.
Yeah.
Can't agree more on that one. And one of the experiences which I had was do mentor a lot of MBA college students across India and also industry advising Manipal University. So while doing that kind of initiative, I did come across like the use of Chat GPT, which is being done a lot for assignment purposes. Initially, there was a lot of hue and cry about like getting the answers to machine and submitting assignments to that. Eventually, we have softwares which can also assess the plagiarism now. So now it's be a level playing field. So like when technology makes a change, there's an impact, and the impact can be a positive one or like probably a negative side. It will have a negative side as well, but we need to control that. As soon as we got the tools to control that, now it's getting in the right shape and format where people are able to utilize. Because what is the benefit of using those kind of tools? The benefit is that the student is able to get the information from different sources in one place. Then they have got the time which is saved for them to think like go for the resources. Instead they can think upon it, they can think about the case, they can think upon how to solve the case with all the information which is available. I remember from my times, like when we used to study and I was an MBA, so we had the tools like YouTube. It was getting popular at that point of time. So YouTube based videos were the source of some good source of knowledge for us in terms of analytics and AI, because AI in that time, I'm talking like definitely some a lot of years back. So it was a very new concept and it was one of the first courses introduced in AI when I was studying. So it was a very different way of studying. After the classes, you get all the knowledge in the classes, then you come back, you do so there's a research, you get some nice videos, try to brush up your understanding. So now with the advent of ChatGPT, initial problems have happened, and thereafter, with these tools which are able to check the plagiarism, now students also getting this like the right way of using it, where they can actually get a lot of information, process it, and then analyze it. So it saves a lot of time for them. So that is one experience which I had in terms of a positive change in the learning environment.
Okay, so we can see like lots of positive change are here, and people are adapting it very quickly. With this, lastly, I would like to ask from you, like, can you please tell us about a time when AI had a lasting impact on students' learning journey long after they left the classes?
It's definitely not a
Uh,
question for me, so because I'm not an educator, so I put my hands up all over to Mr. Anshul on this one.
Hi. No, no. The way we started with the concept of the human engagement, the first question which you asked us, I would get back to that, and I'd like to share that, with time, this time span of the engagement of human beings has reduced drastically. There was a study where they quoted that since 2004, it has drastically reduced by almost 37%. And now, if you see as an average adult and a grown up, we at times have a attention span which is even less than a goldfish, which is 8.25 seconds. I'm talking about seconds, not even minutes. And children who are studying, uh, a teenager, maybe around 16 years of age, would have an attention span of around 24 to 28 minutes at one go. That's what, as teachers, we do analyze. Now, in that little span of time, we are talking about a generation which is, already talking about T20 cricket from started from the test matches, one day international. Now they're talking about 10 overs games and all. So when things are happening at that pace, we are a generation where reels are being preferred more than the YouTube videos, as my friend was discussing. So the time has elapsed, and we need to be more precise, crisp, and relevant to the children to make a lasting impact when the child moves out of the classroom. He needs to, he has to be so mesmerized by whatever he has experienced in the classroom itself. So that includes providing him a wonderful package of an experiential learning, which would include the exceptional usage of AI, planning of each lecture which the teachers would do, so that each and every topic and each and every lecture becomes so interesting and so important for the child. And undoubtedly, without adapting to the technology or using the artificial intelligence, it's very, very difficult. It's going to be very tough for a teacher to skip this or to avoid this. So, for a lasting impact, as you just asked, in a student's journey, once they leave the classroom, it's always going to be somewhat a very relevant, and well prepared, and technologically, I would say, well prepared lecture for a teacher to have that impact on him. So that's and as I just quoted in my last answer to you, that it's more about humanizing the digital content. It's not only providing digital content. So the more human touch you can provide, so the child feels connected into the classroom for himself personally. As you would find all kind of children sitting in a classroom, and there's a child who's more self-motivated, but there's a child who's least interested. They're chill like us, who would always be more interesting watching outside the window, would find it very relevant when we are talking at his pitch and level, where he is interested to understand the concept, and that's practically possible only with the usage of technology. Because for a human being or for a single teacher, it's not possible. So for a lasting impact, we need this. We need technology.
Definitely, totally agree on that. And like taking the term from the last question about digitizing, like humanizing the digital content. So the experiential learning, that also like has to have an impact with AI. And I was looking for that this term in this answer. Definitely, experiential learning. I'm a big fan of that, and this is something which we have missed in our era when we were studying. So we had like all course books and textbooks learning, but the way things have been taught has changed a lot, and it's changing for good, because then you're getting the more practical experiences, and with the advancement of technology and the use of AI, we can have more imbibed and more like immersive experience with experiential learning using AI technologies and AR and VR, etc., which will definitely, because as you experience more of this immersive learning, then it will have a long lasting impact, similar to the experience that if after like if listening to a particular problem or a solution will does leave an impression in our minds, but if you're actually trying to solve it, then you are through it, then you know that you've done it, you dusted with it, you can reproduce it in exams, you can reproduce it in lives. Similarly, if you're having like more sort of experience, immersive experiences while learning, so this will have a long-lasting impression in the minds, and also people will be able to perform better based on that. Those are my 2 cents. Definitely, was looking for that beautiful answer from Mr. Anshul, and yeah, very well said.
All right. So, with this, I would like to summarize today's session. And of course, with that insightful engagement on student, like student engagement, what we have discussed, I would like to quote like AI it acts as a catalyst. I believe, like as a catalyst for student engagement, enhancing their learning journey in school. So, any last thing which you want to quote, Mr. Anshul?
So I think it's I think in this age when children are so motivated with technology, and as parents and as teachers, I would rather pitch in. And in fact, we preach this to a lot of teachers who are working with us, that to stay relevant, let us keep adapting to the latest technology. Chat GPTs are always good so far they are improving the child's knowledge. So instead of refraining and instead of making a distance with the technology, let's try to improvise with it, and let's try to utilize to the best of the extent.
All right. So, yeah, thank you so much for joining today's session, and thank you for providing us such a beautiful journey of student engagement as well. Thank you, Mr. Anshul. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Arsh,
you.
for today's session. Bye.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for hosting us.
Thank you, Archie. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anshul.